Oh, this ain't even right. This just ain't right. I'm gonna do it anyway. It ain't right. Shut the cock out, folks. What's out there trying to leave long? Come on, Post. My boy Hootie right there. He's hanging around, hanging with the folkses. All right, today we're gonna talk about something that's really kind of creative. You know, the talk goes around and goes around and goes around, and it always come back. I always listen though to see what cats have to say. Today we're coming through my Aguilar 212 DB, Aguilar Tone Hammer 500, my Boss Stomp Box Chromatic Tuner, look, with the old cord in it, 1966 Fender P bass with extra set of P's on the bottom, and we're coming through this 2000 something Fender Jazz. This is a special edition and it's Mexi. Now the P bass here has Lindy Fralins, double Lindy Fralins. There's all passive. And this has a Tone Monster switchable petimeter in it. This has a, let's see. Yep. This one has a Tone Monster switchable tone petimeter in it too. So both of these have Tone Monster petimeters in it. Tone switchables. Look, I said tone switchables. All right, so first thing we do is, let me just take a look at this. This is a special edition. This thing is absolutely beautiful. So I put a hip shot bridge on it, and hip shot tuners. Can you see those? Can you see them? All right. SIT strings. These are Lindy Fralins. I'm sticking with Lindy because I'm not only sticking with Lindy because he's right down the street. I'm sticking with him because his stuff is right. Look, for me it is anyway. Can't be the world top builder and his stuff be wrong. I mean, holler at me if you can. Yikes. All right, so we're gonna put this in there. Oh, sorry, Mr. Amp. Now with this Tone Monster, it has rear, front, rear, and then front, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way switch. So this should be interesting. All right, so we're gonna go. First thing we're gonna do is hit the mute button on the amp, on the Aguilar Jones. I said Aguilar Jones, and we're gonna pick up this Boss tuner. It's a stomp box. You know, people don't use those no more. Why? Because they got snorts and stuff like that. I'm old school. All right, but we're gonna kill a myth today, man. That's what I want to do. I want to put a myth down. And people are like, what do you mean? What myth you want to put down? That you can call a P bass a jazz bass, and they will sound particularly the same. That's a myth I want to crush today. I want to crush it because I don't believe that. And I don't know what people, when they put a PJ in it, they call it a jazz. I don't understand that concept. If it's got a jazz body, I can see. If it doesn't have a jazz body, it's not a jazz bass. It's a P. And that's just my opinion. And nobody said that was law. I'm saying, since Hootie's sitting here, he can verify things I have to say. Look, hopefully. All right, let's hit the button. All right, so now, first thing I want to do is play this jazz. I'm going through all the formalities of this jazz and the Tone Monster, because the Tone Monster is the key to this sound of this jazz. I'm already in the rear pickup. Next setting. Next setting. Next setting. Next setting. last setting. Now, same thing for the P. We're going to go from deep to high on the P. Watch. Next setting. Next setting. Next setting. Next setting. And the last setting. Now, both pickups. So right now everything is what we call treble. Right? And we can go from treble to bass on both pickups. Right. Check it out. I like it. I like it. Now, we also already heard what this jazz sounds like. Deep with a P. Rear pickup. Both pickups. Now, let's open it wide open and see what it sounds like. Impressive. Still sound very, very original. Got a lot of booty going on, a lot of highs going on. Mids are definitely there. This is the special. Now this is a jazz bass. Now let's leave the jazz and go to the P bass, one that people would call another jazz. So both of them are wearing Lindy Freilers. All right. So we're gonna pick this one up, and we're gonna go through the tuning again, because that's what you need to do every time you pick up a bass, is that you need to check the tuning. I want to do it here. Okay. Put this back over here. That's old school. And we go back again. I love this Neutrik chord, because when you pull it out, it doesn't pop. When you push it in, it comes on. Now, we're going to go with all bass first, with both pickups. I can hear already that the tone is completely rounder. Now, let's go with the rear pickup. I mean, already I can hear more depth tones, more rounder. Now, let's go with a straight P front. It's just the whole attitude of this bass is just, it sounds like a P. And the other reason is it's old. It's a 66. So the wood is really cured. Is it going to sound like that, Jazz? No. What you have is just another set of P in the back, which gives you a little bit more rounder, brightens up the front P just a little, and gives you a better attack. And I got SIT flats on this one. That one just have SIT power wounds. Now let's go back and put both pickups in, and let's go and see what the treble sounds like. I can hear already that it's more nasally, more bottom heavy, more articulate as far as getting close to a P but not a jazz. I mean, it just pickup in, and it sounds more aggressive on the bottom side, and the mids are just popping out a lot more. But it doesn't sound like a jazz. It just sounds like an over pronounced P bass. You got more bear underneath though. You hear that bear, right? That bear's there, bro. Yeah. Now, I guess everybody asks me, so what do you prefer the most, a jazz or a P? I prefer to have either one of those in my hand. It depends on the gig, and if I'm going to a certain gig, I always pray about it first and ask God, which one you think I should take? Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't pray to God and ask Him, but if I only had just one P bass, that's what I would take. But how many people nowadays have just one bass? And then a lot of people take the wrong bass to the wrong gig. You got 30 basses in your closet, you run and get the one that you think will impress folks. What? The one that's going to impress folks, but have you thought about what type of texture that's on that gig? What kind of gig is that? What kind of texture the tunes are? You know, you got to go with that. A lot of people are like, well, I'll just take my such and such bass and that'll kill it all. Yeah, it will, you know. But where's your voice? When are you gonna start listening for your voice? You know, are you listening for the money that you're spending in these instruments, or are you listening for your voice? A lot of people are playing nowadays, don't even know what their voice sounds like. That's really scary. You know, it's a scary thing when you don't know what your voice sounds like. That's a real scary thing, and it's not impressive at all. You got 30 basses or 20 or 15 basses, and out of all those basses, they all sound different. Yeah, but which one got your real voice that I can walk up there and say, that's you right there, bruh, from ma'am, or bruh, that's you right there. You know, and people you could say, well, people like when I play, yeah, people like when you play such and such bass. But this is your voice, and you look comfortable on this. You're not fighting the neck. A lot of people get basses and they fight the neck. How you gonna play a bass and you're fighting the neck? You playing it because of the name. Stop doing that, guys. You know, I try to stick as old as I possibly can. Every once in a while, I pull something out that's kind of new, but you don't see me playing much. You see me go back to my old stuff because the old stuff is my voice, all right, and it carries the tone that I want to hear. You know, I could buy a bass every day probably if the Queen let me, but why? You know, why? And anytime your Queen says, "I love you" when you play that bass sounds good with you. And she's been around me for how many years? A long time. So she knows my tone. She knows my sound. She knows what I sound like. Maybe, but listen to this bear growl. Listen to this bear growl. That's double pickups. Double P's. And a lot of people just throw a jazz back there. I ain't mad at you. Throw a jazz back there. But it will not be a jazz bass. It'll be a P bass. With a jazz pickup in the back. And that's what you want. Now, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to stop. A lot of people ask me how I set my amp. If you look at this amp, if you can really see it up close, I can't take it off the rack right now because the cords are small. I normally don't go past 11 o'clock. On this setup right here, I'm basically at 10 o'clock on everything. What I have the loudest is probably my volume. I do have my volume pretty loud, but I'm texturizing that loudness with my master volume. All I want to do is hear what the basses sound like. I don't want you to hear what this sounds like. I want you to hear what this sounds like. All right, this is the voice you hear. All right, this only projects the voice that I'm throwing out there. Same thing for all my settings. You know, what you guys need to do is start turning your stuff back, man, and start listening at your bass. You got to start listening at your bass. Woo, for the guys who got all these high-end basses that, you know, custom boutique basses that got all this high preamp and stuff in it, and you running past D10, how in the world? I don't understand that concept. I don't. I really don't. But for me, it's and you know, pretty much passive stuff. I run everything. The hottest I'll run it is 11 o'clock. It depends on what bass I'm using. But normally, if I got an active bass, that's definitely 8:30, 9 o'clock on all my settings, and then you know my volume gain is probably maybe D10, if so, depending on what kind of power I'm running. So I'm just wanting you guys to see and hear my opinion on the two basses that people keep calling jazzes. This is a jazz bass because it's got two pickups in it, and not look two straight pickups. That's a jazz bass. When you got a P pickup and a jazz bass on the bottom, it's a P bass. All right. If the body has a jazz body, and you put a P and a jazz in it, particularly it's a jazz bass because the body is a jazz bass. But don't call a PJ setup a jazz bass. I done seen it come across the air so much. I'm like, who told them that? And that was the biggest mistake I think that you can come out of your mouth with. I just got me a new jazz bass. It's got a P in the front and jazz in the back, and it's got a P body. That's a P bass. Even Hootie said, that's a P bass. What do you say, Hootie? That's a P bass. There you go. So guys, once again, I want to thank you guys for coming by. Checking out my videos. Thank you guys for praying for the Queen and I. And we every morning, bright and early, I'm up praying for you guys because I don't know what's going on in your household, and I definitely don't know what's going on in your life, but I know God can fix it. So I keep doing it because I believe God can fix anything and help anyone. So once again, keep praying for us, Father, you know, and keep keep believing that one note really works. I'm put these girls down, and I'm going and get me something to eat. Shout out, folks. Shout out, please subscribe, please share, please like, please tell other folks, please love your enemies, because in case they turn around and start loving you, you're already in love with them. Shout out, folks. Peace out. Awesome.